So let's just do a quick round of your name, so I can make sure that I'm pronouncing it properly, where you're zooming in from, and where your people are from. So your people might be from the South, they might be from another country. You know, my family's from the Caribbean. So I'll start it off. My name is Dawn, zooming in from San Jose, California. My people are from Trinidad and Tobago. How about we go with the order that people popped into the room? So you know who's first.
Yes, it was me. So hi everyone, I'm Seed Tracker. I'm tuning in from Vancouver, Canada, and I'm originally from Madagascar.
Welcome, welcome. Great, let's
Thanks.
go over to you, Alithu.
I think it was on mute.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Alithu. I am calling in from Orange County, California, and my family is from Peru. I actually grew up in Peru, so I like to say I'm Peruvian, although technically I'm not. Yeah, that's me.
Welcome, thank you. And how about you, Phyllis?
Hi, I'm Phyllis Gordon. I'm calling in from Long Island, New York. My people. Well, I'm from Massachusetts, but I guess my people, half of them are from like Ireland and England, and the other half are from the shtetl in Poland, you know, the Jews.
Awesome.
There you go.
Welcome, Long Island in the house. Welcome, welcome. Actually, while we're at it, I'd love to know like who here is from Clubhouse and who else like knows me, because we have kind of a mixed bag today. So cool. How about we go over to you, Layla?
Hello, I'm Layla, and I'm in Edinburgh, Scotland, in the UK. And
Excellent.
I'm originally from England, and my family's from England. Nothing exciting there. Scotland's great. And yeah, Clubhouse, that's where I heard you.
Clubhouse. Great, awesome. Welcome, welcome. And how about you, beautiful Arnetta?
Sure. So I'm Arnetta. I am from Washington, D.C. My family is from the South, South Carolina. And what was your other question? Was there another question we had?
Oh, how we
Clubhouse. Clubhouse.
Okay.
Clubhouse.
Cool.
Yep.
It's a very
Thanks.
Clubhouse heavy room today.
Yes.
Excellent. And how about we go over to you, Marna?
Hi guys, hi Dawn. Thank you for being here for me, and not only here but Instagram and Clubhouse. You helped me and you encouraged me and motivated me a lot. I appreciate it. My name is Marina Ovcharenko. I am originally from Ukraine, living in New York, Manhattan, Upper West Side. So,
okay, excellent. Upper West Side. And we know each other originally from Clubhouse. Yes?
Yeah, we know.
Yes. Okay, great, great. And Veronica.
My name is Veronica Shanklin. I am tuning in from Dallas, Texas. My family is from Texas and Clubhouse.
Cool. Sorry, this animal just kind of jumped into my arms. All right, let me just put her down. 1 second. I don't know if anyone else has flying animals, but they kind of just jump into your arms unexpectedly. All right, cool. Welcome. Let's see. Let's go over to you, Whitney.
Hello, everyone. My name is Whitney Lewis. I am calling in or zooming in from Houston, Texas, and my people are from Nigeria. And I found out about you, Dawn, from Clubhouse.
Excellent, excellent. Clubhouse is crushing the competition, y'all. All right, Samantina, hello, how are you?
Hi, let me just put my camera on real quick. Hi, my name is Samantina, and I basically met you technically on Facebook. Like I want to say like sometimes last year. I am from New York. That's where I live now. I live in Queens specifically, and my people are from Haiti.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My best friend is from Haiti. And where are you zooming in from?
New York.
Oh, you're in New York. Okay, great. Awesome. Awesome. And Danielle, excited Danielle.
I'm pumped. I heard you for like 5 minutes a couple of weeks ago on Clubhouse. My name is Danielle Lawson, and my screen says Chicago, DC. I split my time between both places. My maternal side of the family is from Mississippi, Louisiana, and my paternal side, Little Tennessee, and Sweden. And I have a little Nigerian quick story. I did my 23andMe, and I had share a direct descendant with Nelson Mandela. I kind of felt that already.
Wow.
So I am really excited about this opportunity. I'm really, really, really excited. And my tribe is here to root me on.
I see them. I love that.
Yeah.
Consider
All right.
different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Welcome. Regina.
Hi, everyone. I'm tuning in from South Florida, and I met Dawn at PodFest last year, which was an awesome event. Changed my life. And I guess you could say my people. I'm from Ukraine. My parents are Ukrainian. I'm first generation American, so proud to be from Europe. And I like to think my people are all of us humans, but I like the question. It's fun.
Yeah, indeed.
Thanks for hosting, Dawn.
Yeah, definitely excited to hear your guys' ideas. Excellent. And Social T, how should we refer to you as?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lori. This is my business's Zoom, so that's why it's that. So I am originally from the DMV area, so all my DC folks, hi, but I live in Houston. Well, originally my mom is Nigerian and my dad's from Trinidad. So you mentioned Trinidad and I was like, oh my God, Trinidad to the bone. But I know, you from Trinidad?
My mom and dad are.
Okay. Yeah, some roti, some pilau. All right, that's cool. We'll talk offline. I actually found out about you through my best friend Whitney, who's also on here. So she met you in Clubhouse, and we actually have been planning a TEDx together. So that's why this is really impactful for us. And I guess my people, well, Social T is a social networking community for women. And we're live in 20 cities. So all the cities in America you've mentioned, we are live there. We, prior to COVID, had links there. So women currently in America, but hopefully we'll go to some of your international places.
Yes. And so you're looking to do an event or to host one or to?
Yeah, we wanted to curate a TEDx. It happened during COVID. So there were so many things that happened to make us not do it or not get approved, but we didn't get approved. I don't know if we're supposed to be that transparent. We didn't get approved and we thought we had such a great opportunity. Idea and everything. So that's why we're so interested to kind of learn about that, maybe why we didn't get approved or what happened. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So. Got it. No problem.
Sorry, Whitney, I'm telling all our business.
Well, the more open and authentic you are, the more I can help you. So,
right.
I don't have all the answers, but I do have a lot of amazing contacts, specifically at TED, and then a couple of TEDx's in New York, here in California. So we'll talk about that in just a moment.
Thank you.
Yeah, indeed. Let's go to Sage. Or maybe Sage isn't. Oh,
hi. No, you waited until I put the mango in my mouth to call me. Okay, so I'm Sage, and I am living in Boston, Massachusetts, and my family is I'm originally from Long Island, New York, and I have family in the Georgia area as well. And I found out about you on Clubhouse.
Great. I love being able to like, connect on Clubhouse and then being able to do these Zoom rooms. Then a lot of amazing, impactful people that are on the app. So, and last but not least, Miss Cheryl.
Hello, hello. I'm sorry I'm late. I was leaving another meeting and I said, oh my gosh, it's 4:10. So, I guess we're just introducing ourselves. I didn't come in when you were asking what we were doing right now, so I'm just going to introduce myself. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, just like where you're zooming in from, and where your people are from.
Oh my gosh. So I am zooming in from Orlando, Florida. My people are from Buffalo, New York. So I went from 20 degrees below zero to like 90 degrees, which I love.
Wow. Nice.
But I also saw you in the TED Talk room on Clubhouse.
Okay, great.
And it has been something that I have just wanted to do. I'm speaking and coaching and training. And so TED Talk is on my bucket list. And so when I saw you on Clubhouse and I downloaded the guide and I said, okay, this is great because I've spoken to TEDx coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's just a really, really huge piece. And I just wanted some insights and to, be able to see if this is something I can do. I know it's something I want to do.
Yes. Yes.
Just need the strategies to do it.
Hey, that's what we're just about to jump into. So I'm so glad that you're here. So glad that this time like has worked for people. So yeah, y'all ready to dive into this? All right, let's do it. So some of you came in a bit after I asked the question, but I will be sharing quite a few documents. Some of you may have already seen some of these, some of you haven't. So just can you like raise your hand for me real quick if you have seen this list already of the TEDx events coming up? Okay, great. And who has not? Oops, I can't see my full screen.
I haven't. This is Arnetta. I have not.
You have not. Okay. And so some of you have not.
Marina, yeah, I didn't receive it on email, just saw it from the beginning when you showed to us. But before I didn't check it out because I didn't receive it.
Okay, no problem.
And I haven't, because I haven't received it either.
Okay, yeah, that's no problem. That's exactly why I wanted to make sure. So I'll be sending it out to everybody. Just drop your email in the chat for me, please.
Yeah.
Even if I already have your email, because obviously I do because you've logged in. Even if I have it, just it's an extra little ping for me to make sure that I can send this stuff out to you all afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So that's going to be one document. And the other one is going to be this one, which nobody has seen yet, which is kind of the blueprint that we're going to be like working off of. So yeah, if you just want to make sure that you can see my screen and that your email is in the chat, that would be excellent. Okay, cool. So before we totally jump into this, two questions. So who here has already like done something with TED, and who is looking to do like more like public speaking, like to become a paid public speaker? So who here is interested more in the TED stuff? Okay, great. And then anybody here is interested in becoming more of a paid public speaker? Alita, Veronica. Okay, so some of you have like both. Is that true? Yeah? Okay, cool. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about both options in terms of like what's happening in the 2021 landscape. Just kind of like, see what blueprint best makes sense for you, because both of them are slightly different strategies depending on like what you're ultimately trying to accomplish for 2021. So I'll be talking about a little bit of them, but for the paid public speakers, I will be having another workshop on next week on Tuesday. That's just about how to get like your first paid gig. Part of my own journey was I was speaking, I was going on these stages, getting paid $200, $300 until there was something that happened that all of a sudden shot me up into like the $5,000 plus category for a 45-minute keynote. And I was shocked, like blown away that somebody would pay that amount of money. And it was a college. It was, it was just a local college. But that totally changed my trajectory in terms of becoming a public speaker. So that's a slightly different blueprint though. Today, I'm going to focus a little bit more on the TED and TEDx stuff. But if you are interested in the speaker stuff, please just let me know. And if you can't make next Tuesday, we'll talk about it. There's plenty of options. Sound good? Okay, cool. Oh, Danielle, were you saying something?
No, I had already, when I read the email, I said, Dawn, you are my angel. I said 5 years ago, I'm not doing any more radio for free, nothing else for free.
Right.
That's it. You're going to pay me to hear me speak.
Right.
All right, let me mute myself. Thank you.
It's no problem. Y'all can keep yourself off of mute. It's no problem. It's no problem. Okay, so a little bit of a backstory. For those of you who don't know me, I was living in New York City for about 14 years. During that time, I was kind of hustling. I was trying to figure out, how do I actually get paid for my work? How do I actually become a speaker and not have to go on this hamster wheel continuously of wanting to try and serve people, but not really getting paid. So I applied to TED, Big TED in 2013 for the very first time. And I led with this story about my twin brother, Dwayne. He has Down syndrome. And so literally the two of us are 1 in a million. And so I always thought that our story was unique. And there was something to it. And so I decided to pitch to TED this story about being 1 in a million and wanting to advocate for storytelling and storytellers. But my application was not accepted. I just got a blank, sorry, but nah, it's not gonna work, And I was like, okay, there's something that I'm not doing right. And what I realized is that I was leading with my story. The second year I applied, I learned exactly what it is that TED was looking for. And one of the very, very first things that I'm going to be working with you all on is to understand the stage, specifically what is TED looking for. So once I switched from telling my story into sharing my idea, that is really when things started to become magical. So instead of talking about my twin brother and special and things around sportsmanship or around our connection, I led with this idea that I wanted people to think about differently about those who had special needs in terms of their gifts. Lo and behold, 2014, it was accepted for TED, the TED Global Idea Search, which is one of the iterations of Big TED. I did my talk, and afterwards, magic started happening. Literally, I started getting calls from celebrities like the rapper Common, who became one of my first celebrity clients. I started working with a shark from Shark Tank. And so I was able to lean totally into my coaching practice, which is why I'm able to do kind of the stuff that I do now. And so I don't work directly with TED or TEDx, but because I have done their talks, we're very much connected. And I have done direct interviews with their curator, with the main TED speaker curator, about what's working, what's not working, what's being overdone, where are they at with 2020 and 2021. So those are some of the things I'm going to be talking with you about today. In addition to figuring out where are you with your own idea and how might you be able to reshape it so that you don't do the same mistakes that I did. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So the first thing I want to do is I want to just take another moment to ask you all, and we won't do this with everybody, but I want to get a sense of who has a story or who has something that they've lived through, an experience, a professional experience that they think might be worthy of a TED Talk. Okay, great. So some of you are raising your hands. I would love to hear, what is the idea that you're working with? I want to do a little exercise that each one of us can lean into as we're thinking about how do I translate my topic, or how do I translate what I'm thinking about specifically into an idea? So so let's get this party started. Who has something that they'd like to share?
I do.
Okay, great. Yeah, great. Let's start with Samantina.
So I'm writing a book, and one of the chapters called No Longer Bound. And the book is basically about mental health and traumatic experience that I experienced as a child. So my talk idea is basically about freeing yourself from stigma about mental health, because I also work for the city of New York, and people just think like when you talk about mental health, you literally a crazy person. So I want to, so my talk is called, I'm working on it right now. It's called No Longer Bound, Freeing Yourself from the Stigma and Learn to Heal Your Wounds. Because basically the traumatic experience that I experienced at home basically were affecting me as an adult in one of my jobs. And I realized there were a connection after I got fired from that job, because my boss was just a horrible person. And so that's basically my talk is going to be focusing a lot on generational traumas, and basically, yeah, I mean, that's the subtitle feel like explains it well: freeing yourself from stigmas and learning to heal your wounds. So that's basically going to be the main core of the story.
Great. So healing your wounds and not leading into generational trauma.
Yeah.
Okay. So now tell me, why you? Like, what makes you somebody that has that knows about this work, or what makes you an expert?
So basically, I have been writing articles about that. I've written articles about mental health, traumas. I've also lived it, and I have gone to therapy for about 3 years. And I feel like, based on my own experiences and also the work that I have done to get to a better place, qualifies me for that talk, because I'm not talking about it based on just studies. I've also experienced it, and I've also done the work to be in a better place.
Great. So and this is an exercise I'm going to take you all through in just a moment. So tell me a little bit more about that work piece. Like, what have you done? I mean, because you said that you lived it, but tell me a little bit more about that lived experience as it relates to your expertise.
Hold on, what? Hold on.
So you mentioned that you've lived through this, right? But so you've lived through it. So we know that it's something that you personally have lived through. But I want to know more. Have you started dialogues with other people in order to create a community? Have you written a book about it? Like, what else makes you the person to specifically talk about this topic?
So basically, I am writing the book now. It hasn't been released yet. It's basically called through my pain, I found the lights. That's the title of it. So basically, it explained 5 things that I did to help me get to a better place, and one of them was going to therapy consistently, and basically switching the way I live my life, the people that I allowed in, and setting boundaries. So basically, I talk through that process. In the book, I basically talk about the process that I've taken to get to a better place, where I don't feel like my anxieties or my traumas is controlling my life, because that's how I felt before. And I have seen a difference.
Okay, cool. And so last question then is, what could people, like a listener, what can a person who's listening to your talk, what can they do differently if they are suffering from any type of this trauma? What can they shift, or what is the thing that they can do? What steps can they take to get out of this?
So I've done some studies, and basically traumas not only affect us mentally, it also affects us genetically. I did this study where it shows that people who basically lived in a very in a war zone, for example, like people from the Holocaust, their like genetics is different from a person who have not experienced it. So it's not only affecting us mentally, it's also affecting our genetic. So that's why I feel like it's important for us to start healing our traumas now, instead of just keep passing it down to generation after generation.
So quick clarification, how do we take care of our traumas now, though? Are you telling people that we should go to therapy? Are you telling people that we should read a book? Like, what should people do?
I think going to therapy is one of them, but I also think the way we deal with our kids, because I feel like parents should feel like they are they are responsible for the things that they are exposing their kids to. Like if you are in a relationship with an abusive man, your kids are being exposed to that. So I think parents really need to, I feel like need to understand that they are their kids' role model. Don't just assume that they're kids they don't remember, because I remember a lot of things that happened in my home when I was a child. So I want to bring that awareness, because I think it is parents' responsibility to take care of their kids' mental health.
Got it. Got it. So you're really leaning into the parents in terms of like what they should be doing in order to help and not pass on the generational trauma.
Right. I mean, I think my core audience is parents and also educators, because when I graduated college, I was working at a summer camp, and there were these set of twins. They literally lived my life, and it was so crazy to me when I spoke to them, the things that they were telling me, and I was just like, you're literally me. So I think sometimes it's hard for teachers to really, hear these stories, because they have to deal with 20 or 30 kids in a classroom. But sometimes these teachers are like the only thing that they have, that like in terms of like somebody who cares, because they may the kids may live in a home where their parents are not capable of caring for them. And they're being exposed to all type of things. So I think it's important for me to also speak with educators, because I want them to also be mindful of that.
Got it.
Because I think I know when
hold on 1 second. Hold on, Samantina. I want to make sure that I have like enough time to jump around to a couple people.
Sure, no problem.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But no, I definitely got what you're saying. And for those of you who are listening, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to break down like how to first structure and how to look at your idea, and how to break down and look at your expertise. Okay, so that's kind of like the part of what we're building towards. So I want to get one more person though to talk about your idea, and then we're gonna Phyllis, and then we're gonna get some more people to talk about your expertise, and you'll see how all of this stuff starts to like build together. Okay.
So my idea, I guess so I'm an actor, and then for a side job for the last 10 years, I've been a standardized patient, which is a medical actor who basically I portray people with all kinds of ailments for medical students. And so that I role play with them. And I also give them feedback and teach them all about empathy, excuse me. So, as well as many other things, but whatever, it's a big job, but whatever. But I love the job and I think I'm good at it, but whatever. So that's why been doing it for 10 years. So cut to, I moved from Boston. I did it in Boston. I did at Harvard Medical School, Tufts Medical School, all these medical schools. And then I moved to Long Island a few years ago. A year ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was diagnosed at the hospital where I was also working as a standardized patient. And so I've been teaching about empathy to the medical students who are just like sponges, and they pick it up and they're just so positive about it. And you think they're going to take that out into the world, and you think you're making this huge difference in medicine, and it's amazing. And then as a person dealing with breast cancer, I experienced quite a lack of empathy with a lot of the doctors, desk staff, nurses. And so because I had these crazy stories that I would come home and tell my husband and my mom, they were like, you need to write a show. I've written solo shows in the past. And so I wrote a solo show about this, and it's called Empathetic. So I wrote that, and I just finished writing it, and I'm actually, it's showing like 15 minutes of it is showing this week. Whatever. So I have a director from LA, and so I've been working on it. It was very therapeutic, but it was also, it forced me to, really look at how we could change things, because I thought I was changing things as a standardized patient, but I don't know if that's true. I don't think there's enough empathy at all in healthcare. So I think it's a huge topic right now. And I think that I do have a lot to say about it, but I need to sort of, chisel it out, flesh it out. There's a lot to flesh out, but that's my basic idea.
Great. So the basic premise then is around empathy within the healthcare system.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Less about my breast cancer situation. I mean, that's just part of it, but that's not really it. It's really the empathy. Yeah.
Excellent. Great description. Okay, great. I'm going to get one more person, and then I'm going to break this down for everybody. One more person. Or or maybe let's do two. How about Cheryl and then Marna?
Can I start?
Huh? Oh, let's do Cheryl first, and then we'll go up to you, Marna.
So my idea is I'm this person that just kind of jumps into something that I've never done before. And excuse me, my thought is I've written a book about silencing the chatter, how to silence the chatter and move beyond your fear. And so my thought is I want to help people to be fearless again, is to take that time to be fearless again. And I think about when I've run 2 half marathons, never ran a 5K. I'm a certified scuba diver, couldn't swim. I've jumped parachuting and afraid of heights. And so these are things that I did, but when I did them, it kind of opened up a world for me that just didn't allow me to go back to being that small person that said, things like, I'm not sure, I can't, I don't think I should. It literally opened up the world that said, you know what, it's all possible. And yes, I can. And so, I'm still formulating it in my head as you're having this conversation. I'm like, okay, this is really good exercise. And so my thought is to get people to just, take that opportunity before we get to a place where we get scared again.
Got it.
Right? Once you get, it's like you go through these stages when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're fearless. You get to be in your 40s and 50s, you're afraid. And then you get to be in your 60s, you're like, oh my gosh, this is my last chance. I got to do something. And then you get into your 70s and 80s and you're afraid again. So, let's use that time that we have and be able to do something that just blows our mind and just allows us to say, you know what, I've had this experience of a lifetime.
That's amazing. So part of the idea then is to silence the chatter of that we can't do something, or to silence the fear in order to step out into doing something more amazing with our lives.
Yes, and to silence the chatter of other people.
Got it.
The external chatter that turns internal, and then next thing you know, you're not doing anything and you're just in that world of, I wish I had a.
Right. Great. Got it. Thank you. And Marna, what's your idea, honey?
Okay, my idea is cleaning. I'm a cleaning expert, and I would love to go to TED and talk about importance of cleaning, because we have a lot of expertise now, especially we are listening about importance of healthy food, exercising, mental health, but we are not talking about cleaning as the most important thing that we are into every day and every second, and that thing helps us to be mentally health and physically health. Sometimes people thinking about cleaning as a service or something dirty, but cleaning helps people to feel better physically and mentally. And I felt it from my childhood, and I was clean freak from my childhood, as Maricon that was. And I have my cleaning company, personal cleaning company I run in Ukraine in 2008. And I love cleaning. I'm owner and still cleaning for my clients with my hands, because when I come, it's different when I keep my workers, employees coming, because I do it with love and I can change life, not the room.
Right.
How it happens, we are changing with surrounding our mood, and through the clean windows we can see even cloudy sky in a good mood, and it's not that bad, it's not that dark when we see the sky from the dirty windows. So everything that can help us to be happier, healthier, and on shape is about cleaning, as I see it.
So to become healthier, happier people, we need to
keep our service spaces clean. Yes.
Great. Got it.
Clean and decluttering.
And decluttering. Yeah.
Yes.
So I dropped my address in the chat.
Okay,
All
got
right.
it. Got it.
Come in clean, please.
Excellent, excellent. This is great. So a wide range of ideas. So I'm going to give you all a couple of tips and tricks to think about when it comes to like really honing in on what is the idea, right? So this is a 3-step process. So whatever your initial like key word is, if that's cleaning, if it's mental health, if it's empathy, what we want to do is we want to translate the experience that you have with this topic, and we want to put 3 different lenses on it. Okay. The first lens that you're going to think about is what changed for me internally. Like, what was the internal shift? So for example, when I tell people the moment that started off for me was this time that I was at UCLA. My twin brother Dwayne comes to the meet, and he does not win this race. Right, I'm kind of bummed because I wanted to be an Olympian. That was kind of like the dream, but I was bummed that he didn't win the race. And so the first lens that I put onto my experience was an internal shift, okay? Meaning when I thought about what did this moment at UCLA's track and field with my twin brother Dwayne, what did it mean for me internally? And the answer for me was that I realized that I was being a bad sport, right? And so that was like, I was like, how here he is like high-fiving the volunteers, hugging, the other athletes. And here I am being sulky and salty because he didn't win, right? So that very first lens that I put on this experience was that I was a bad sport. And that was something that I had to control, right? The second lens that I want you to think about is how did things change for me externally? In other words, how did it change my relationship with somebody else? How did it change my relationship to those who are to the other characters in my story? So for example, in my particular moment, what shifted for me was I started thinking, okay, this is a moment to think about my relationship with my twin brother. Because for me, I always thought of myself as needing to be the one that would be looking out for him, possibly taking care of him, because of course, he has special needs. But then I realized that actually the story or what I was experiencing was more about him teaching me some lessons, right? And that was an insight because I always thought that I would be teaching him how to get faster, how to win these races, how to execute efficiently. But I hadn't thought about what he was teaching me in terms of like loving children and never letting go of a hug first. There were things that I hadn't even thought about that I was learning as a result of being in this relationship with him. So the second lens you're going to put on your story or your moment is what changed for me externally as it related to other people outside of me. Okay. And then the third lens that I want you to think about is how did this moment or how did this topic, how did it change my worldview, right? So in my particular case, I was thinking, okay, well, how did this change my worldview? And the way it changed my worldview is I started thinking about the concept of special needs, right? And that's really when it came down to like, okay, I need to reframe how people think about needs. Because if I'm thinking about needs in this way, like, and I consider myself to be an equal, what the hell is the rest of the world thinking, right? And that's when I realized that I wanted people to think of, instead of this term special needs, I wanted people to think about special gifts, okay? In terms of like, what does it mean to really understand the power of those who have special needs? What can we learn from them that's not academic, it's not in the head, but it's perhaps in the heart, right? So I want you to think about your topic or your moment, because what happened for me was when I put it through these 3 lenses, there's all different iterations of how you could articulate what your topic or your idea is. When I first submitted my application, my idea was much more focused on like on the personal, on the shift in sportsmanship. But I'm not an expert necessarily on sportsmanship. I haven't like, written books about sportsmanship. I haven't, it wasn't quite yet vibing, right? And so once I shifted it to this larger worldview, that's when we start to see what this means for other people, right? What it means in terms of like what other people can do, say, act, or believe as a result of this topic or as a result of your story. Does that make sense? So think about it like as filters. Like everyone knows about these Instagram filters. You'll see like, like a halo kind of a picture. You'll see like a sunny type of a picture, a black and white type of a picture. So part of the goal is to put that lens, put these 3 different filters on your topic or your idea, and then see which one of them makes the most sense for now. Okay, so that's the first thing that you're going to do. That's the first thing that you're going to do. The second thing that you're going to do is going to think about what iteration or what makes this timely. Okay, what makes this topic timely? So, so Marna, like, when you're talking about like cleanliness and the art of cleaning up and that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so much interest right now in on things like that because obviously, like with COVID, right? And so what we want to do is we want to, once we figure out between those 3 lenses, the internal, the external, and the worldview, once we choose one of those, we want to step into, okay, what makes this timely, right? Because if you were to go on to the TED or TED.com website or just do a Google search and you were to Google like empathy TED, cleanliness TED, there are going to be other talks about that topic. Now that's a good thing. I don't want you to think that that's a bad thing. I want you to think that that's a good thing because it means that there is interest in this topic. The key though is to find the iteration or to find the nuance of what makes this different from your perspective. And the way to do that is a couple more filters. The first filter is like, why is this important now? Like what's different about this topic now, today? A lot of stuff happened in 2020 that made your ideas slightly different or slightly more nuanced or slightly more important now. Okay. So what could make it timely? Also, what might be an iteration or like an objection to a talk that you've seen that probably doesn't quite get to the main core of what you see or how you see it. So for example, I'm working with somebody right now who she has cerebral palsy and she was looking up talks about grit. She wanted to do a talk about grit. And when she was like looking at all the different talks that were out there, she was realizing that there was something that just didn't feel right for her because people could have great grit, but they may not necessarily get to where they're going without vision. And so she shared with me like this as a sample. She shared with me how growing up East Los Angeles, her and her brother, like, immigrant background. So parents didn't have like a lot of money, but she was, born with cerebral palsy. And so her dad tells her one day that, you have a fucked up body, but you don't have a fucked up brain. So we want to like use your brain to get you ahead as much as we possibly can. And so she started like, thinking like, okay, like, well, I want to go to USC or UCLA. She was living in Los Angeles. And her brother was like really smart, really studious, but he didn't quite have that same push. So what ended up happening in her case was her brother had grit, but he didn't have vision. And so he got into a gang and eventually ended up killed because he didn't have that same vision. He had grit, but that grit led him to the top of the wrong ladder. It led him to the top of, the gang ladder. And so when she was looking at different talks, she was realizing that all these people are talking about grit this way. You have to get gritty with it. You have to spend your time, you have to dedicate, you have to put your mindset in, but without that extra little step of vision and opportunity, grit doesn't make sense. Okay. So when you look up topics, what might be a nuance or what might not be being said that makes your talk different or unique? Danielle, go ahead, take yourself off of mute for a second. Go ahead.
So, wow. So what I've always really admired about TED is vulnerability.
Mhm.
Really talking about your own truth
Mhm.
with no judgments. And literally, as you're stating, this time, a timely topic.
Mhm.
And literally, I'm in the midst of some battles. And I really had 4 other talks that, you know, people have asked me for years, how do you do this? How do you do that? You know, all of this. And I had all that lined up, right? And now, you know, I'm hearing this, what makes it, the nuances and you know, the topic and timely and what people are missing. And that's always been me, what is missing. And I've always been that voice speaking truth to power. But I mean, to be brave, to literally get on the stage and to really say that, and I know really what I need to propose, it would be bold as F-U-C-K, but it really would be timely as hell. And I'm an expert.
Great.
So I thank you very much for this. And this is really what I needed. And I am not a know-it-all, but I am. So I always knew about the lenses because I'm a dive deeper thinker anyway.
Mhm.
And so even when Phyllis mentioned the empathy, I put in the chat, Phyllis, welcome to Black America, because we always have challenges with that in the healthcare system. That's why we die. And I don't want to go into what I do as well as that, but I put that in there because you experienced it, but that's always been. So that's another lens. That's the reason why I typed that in there. So, but let me be quiet. But that was a point I made a little while ago when you stated that, because I was like, wow, that was new for her, but the eyes are open. And that's Black America, period, that's documented. That happens and discounted and people just go home and die.
Right.
Period. Before COVID. And that's a reality. But okay, I'm gonna mute myself. But keep going on because this is like wonderful. Thank you.
Of course, of course. And yeah, I'm glad to see that there's like a lot of connections in terms of people's ideas overlapping. I'll explain later like how a lot of this works, but so much of the coaching that we do in the program that I'm going to talk about way later is group work. And it's a matter of like listening to each other and saying like, that is striking with me, but I think that there might be a slight iteration or a slight nuance. I have so many stories about how this panned out with some of the people who are in my current group, but that's a story for another time. So excellent observation though, excellent observation. So yeah, so your idea, once again, we want to look at it in terms of if it's timely, like what makes it now, the nuances. And then also for the idea, sometimes people ask, which idea do I choose or what topic do I choose, right? This is when we start to lean into your expertise, okay? So the thing is, what you'll often hear with TED and TEDx is that they're looking for great storytellers. What they really mean is that they're looking for experts who know how to tell a good story. Okay? They're really looking for experts who know how to tell a good story. So the thing is, I think I even have like Brene, oh, I do. I could pitch to TED today, a topic around like daring to lead, right? But they don't want me to talk about this. They want the person who's written the book to talk about it. Okay. They don't want somebody who's read the book and can talk about it. They want the person who has written the book. So the next exercise that we're going to be going through is to look at our expertise through a couple of lenses. Then that's also going to help us figure out what story to share and how to demonstrate that you are the expert who can tell the story about it. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So I'm going to need a couple more hands here. Tell me in a couple of sentences, what makes you the expert in your topic? And keep in mind that a little bit of a caveat, you can also have lived experience, which also makes you the expert, right? In my case, I was born with a twin, that has Down syndrome. I hadn't studied it, but it's something that I've lived, right? So just because I don't have a PhD in twinology, does not mean that I can't also talk about it from an authoritative standpoint. Does that make sense? So when I talk about expertise, it could be personal experience, it could be your professional degrees, it could be like something that you studied, something that you've researched. So I want to open the floor to you all for a couple of people. What makes you the expert in your topic?
Well, I have a certification from British Institute Cleaning Science, and now I'm getting certification from American Institute of Cleaning Science. And also I applied, and on March 21st, I'm starting my certification from Marie Kondo. I've got professional cleaning techniques and running business. If someone will ask me how to clean, I will tell them in a professional way to clean anything, or how to run a business. I do it, and it's my third company, and I do it successfully, and I know how to do it in a legal way, and how to build a company and how to clean. So this is my two ways, and I have a knowledge and expertise by learning and doing and living on it.
Yes. Great, Marna. Living it, doing it, certifications, and actually having a company means that you've taken your time to build an infrastructure that actually serves other people. Okay, great. Excellent. Sage, yes, I see your hand.
Okay, so I lived the experience, and I have had a business in the area of my topic for 20 years. And I also have testimonials from clients and video and audio testimonials, and I have a certification. Is that enough?
Yeah, tell me about your certification a little bit more.
So I'm a mind gut health practitioner. Okay. And so my certification is in that area.
As in mind gut, was it?
That my certification is in that area.
Yeah, in what area again? Could you repeat?
Oh, okay. So I'm actually a board certified colon therapist.
Oh, got it. Yeah, saying that you're board certified is definitely shows your expertise.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that you've worked, because you said you have testimonials, so I'm assuming that you've worked with people from all walks of life.
Absolutely, from all different countries and from all walks of life, mainly people in corporate, but also like stay-at-home moms as well, and athletes. So yes.
Great. Excellent. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. One more person. Alitu.
I can go.
Yeah.
But I may be a little different because on the topics, of course, I missed a part. I'm sorry about that. But on the part that the topics that I'm thinking I would like to speak about, I don't really have official certification, like you're saying. It's been more of my personal experience with, I do have lupus. So it's just, I think there's a lot to say about living with an invisible disability or an invisible difference. And although, I'm not a medical provider of any way, but I've gone through too many experiences even before I even was diagnosed. So I didn't even know I had lupus, and I had to deal with that and how things changed since at least I knew what was going on with myself. So I don't know if that would be enough, or if maybe it's not enough certificate. Like, I'm not an expert on the matter. I just know what happened in my life because of that.
Right. Now tell me just a little bit more about your idea again.
Just how to, I don't even know how to word it, but how to be able to live with an invisible disability.
Got it.
how to project yourself to other people or not to feel less.
Got it. Got it. And that's great. I actually, I was speaking with somebody from, because so many of you are in Clubhouse, I'll share this really quickly, that I was speaking with somebody who, he has, visual impairment. And, she was talking about how so many apps right now are difficult to navigate because, especially like on Clubhouse, you'll hear the voices, but they don't know like where people are or who's exactly saying what. And so like looking at ways that new technologies can be more inclusive for all different types of communities. And of course that's timely because I mean, all of us are relatively new to Clubhouse. But there's a lot of apps that are being created now, and it's a way of like, how do we talk about the inclusion in order to make sure that these type of opportunities are accessible for everybody, right? And it's a new topic because so many of us are new to these types of platforms, right? So yeah, when you're talking about, and then another person was talking about how keyboards, sometimes keyboards, they don't have the right type of layout to make it easy for people who are also visually impaired, right? So there's a lot of things that people who don't see, like disability, or if they don't see what's happening with other people, they think that there's no problem, right? Until somebody like you brings it up and says, actually, there is a problem, right? So, okay, great, awesome.
Wait, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So I know you said the three things. I missed the first one because I had to be on a call real quick. What was the first thing that you mentioned when you were listing the? I know you said one of them was what changed for that person externally, and how did it change the world's view or something like that? What was the first thing you mentioned? I forgot. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, that's no problem. So the first one is what changed for me internally.
No, before that, the very first thing you listed, because you named three things. I know this one was the second one. What was the first one? The very, very first one?
The first one was internal. The second one was external.
Oh, okay. So what was the thing that you said about internal?
So the internal shift, like when I first thought about what my idea was, my internal shift was that I was a bad sport, for example. Okay. I didn't understand the concept of sportsmanship. That's what changed for me. So it didn't have anything to do with anybody outside of me. It specifically was my problem that I needed to learn. So that's what I thought the first iteration of my idea was about. Okay. But then I realized it had to be slightly still tweaked because I was not an expert on sportsmanship.
Right.
And another thing to think about for your expertise is that thing that you can talk about day in, day out, night, day, any point in time. Marna, I know that you can talk about this stuff like all the time. I know that's right. So it's the thing that, that you are not going to get sick of. You're not going to get tired of. You've worked on it. You've worked other people to show them how they can do it. That's the thing that's going to really help hone in on that particular idea. Does that part make sense?
Awesome. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, great. Awesome. So far we've covered in terms of the idea. So, the idea needs to be timely. We want to find if there's talks that are out there that are like yours, we want to find what are the nuances that possibly are not being explained, or things that are have not yet been expressed. And then in terms of what you can talk about because of your expertise. So knowing that you've either done some research around this, you've written a book about it, you started a business around this, you've organized people around this, you've done something, right? You've actually done something that shows that you have committed time to this topic. Yes, Marna.
Can I ask you if it's really important to get to this stage, and before to get there, it's important to have a book, articles, to be in Wikipedia, to have stage before different stages, not TED stages. I never had any experience to be a speaker. I had some TV interviews and radios interview here in New York, but I've never been on stage, and I never read the book, and I never read the article, how important it is for them and how they check it. And if it's important, should I do it right now and hire someone to help me with that? Or it's okay to have just the business expertise and certification and education?
Oh, that is such a great question. Such a great question. So the awesome thing about this particular process is, no, you don't have to have written the book. You don't have to have spoken on a lot of stages, although in a certain instances it will help. So for example, um, a couple of years ago, I was working with somebody who was, he had this idea for an app. He felt like people were constantly, like, he was a designer, and he felt like people were always going to like to events and whatnot, and you know, taking their phones and just like holding up their phones for like hours upon hours, as opposed to like actually experiencing the event. And so he had this idea that he wanted to write a book about this, and he wanted to do this app, but he hadn't yet done it yet because it was still an idea. And so what he did was he said, you know, I started to put together like this app where people can just like take a second of a video and kind of like compile that together, and just like looking at that 1 second can bring back the entire memories of the event that you're experiencing, right? And so when he presented it at TED, at the TED Global Idea Search, it wasn't yet anything. There was no book, there was no app, there was no nothing. But he did have like kind of like a beta version of like what he would like to see, you know? And so what happens for a lot of people is, I suggest that you do the talk first, because people will then get to know you, like, oh, that's the woman who talks about cleaning, or that's the woman who talks about you know, living in the moment and not and you know, putting down your damn phone, right? Because that, once you land the talk, like it gives you fire and so much credibility, and people just like start like, you know, being like, okay, I want to get behind that idea. That's a really smart idea. So no, you definitely do not need to have a book. I actually recommend that people, if anything, that you actually do a little bit more of the speaking side of it first. And so what I'm going to show you, I have those documents that I brought at the very top of the session. I'm going to show you a couple of places that you can start to get on virtual stages. Because one of the things that you will need as part of an application is some type of proof that you can publicly speak. Because if you think about it, they're bringing you to their stage based off of a couple of different properties: an application, a two-minute submission, kind of like you talking to camera, and any type of additional proof that shows you either speaking to a public audience or speaking on a virtual stage. So I'm so glad that that you asked that, and I'm going to show you how to get on those speaking stages, because that, in my opinion, is more important than having the book or anything else in order to prove that you are the expert. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Phyllis.
I have a question, just because I'm an actor. You know, I love Sarah Jones. She's like one of my little idols. And
yes, I know
love her
Sarah.
show. Yeah, isn't she amazing? And,
yeah,
and I love her characters, and I do characters as well. And so I'm doing this solo show, and I didn't know if TED Talks, like, I mean, I know they like Sarah Jones because she does all characters and that's what she does. And but I didn't know if I could sort of weave that into the talk, if that's something that they're into, or if they just want you to just talk as yourself, sort of going into it.
Great question. So it's kind of a mixed bag. The funny thing with Sarah is, like, she's known for those characters, and so for her not to do that would be like kind of denying the world of what she naturally, organically does. And I believe she was, I believe, I can't recall if she actually had to submit an application, or if somebody from TED asked her to do a talk. And so it's slightly different, because if you're known and people like ask you to do, they're asking you because you're known for something. But in your case, there's always going to be a fun way that you might be able to do something like unique or different. So for example, I'm working with somebody right now who she's a comic, and she comes from a town called Normal. but she has multiple sclerosis. She has a son with autism. And so she always feels like, like we're not quite like normal. But what she does as a comedian is she has this banner with the words NORMAL, and she has like all this swag that she uses. And as part of her pitch, we were like, you have to show that you've actually done something with this word and this terminology normal, because the N is like, all like queer. It's like the rainbow flag colors, and the O is like, the multiple, it's all very visual, right? So there are ways of either you infusing either your personality or your stuff into the talk and into the pitch, because that's going to stand out as something that, as something that's uniquely you, but you don't want to spend too much time on it. You just want to make sure that people know that, you can get a good point across and that you're unique in your perspective.
Cool. All right. I understand. Thanks.
Yeah. Cool. Great. Oh, Sage, was your hand up from before, or I think her hand might be up from before.
I apologize. Yes, my hand was up from before.
Okay, cool. I just don't know how to put them down, so I just wanted to make sure that you were taking care. Oh, you got it down. Okay, great. So awesome. So so does that make sense in terms of like what you can do now in order to like find a talk that's similar to yours, but make it slightly nuanced, so it's yours, that you own it? Yeah. Okay, great. So let's talk about the pieces of like what I call real estate that you're going to need in order for a really solid talk. Okay, I'm going to pull up my screen here. This is, if anybody has not sent me their email, I think Lance, you may have jumped in a little bit late. Please just put your email in the box, and I'm going to be sending you all these documents after the session is done. Okay, so let's go to, oops. That's not the button. Let's share the screen. Okay, can everybody see my screen okay? Okay, great. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's pretty self-explanatory, but it does have a bunch of hyperlinks that will lead you to a couple other documents that are going to be really helpful for you to like expedite your process. Okay, cool. Okay, great, awesome. So I'm just going to talk about the steps, but then I'm going to really lean more into the real estate that you're going to need, i.e., the virtual stages, some type of proof that you can speak to an audience, and some other stuff. Okay, so this is a general blueprint of like what you can like look for as you're trying to get your stuff in order for this year. The first one is to get familiar with the TED and TEDx's in your area. So if you don't know, TEDx is independently organized and curated. I'm sure that who are our sisters who were trying to organize the TEDx event? I know y'all are in here somewhere. Anyways, okay, so each TEDx is independently organized, meaning each TEDx has a different style. It's going to have a different curatorial team. And it also means that a lot of times they want to like lean into like kind of like your local heroes. Hush, 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 hush. Quiet. Hey. Quiet. The dog. If she's not just flying into my arms, she's just like sitting in the background. So sorry, it's not my stomach. Okay, so so TEDx's are independently curated, which means that all these people are volunteers. Typically, they get the license about a year out in advance, and it comes from TED. So you need to like show that that you can put together basically a production, because it means that you're going to be bringing in like 10, 15, 20 people to speak, possibly other acts and whatnot. So one of the first things that you're going to want to do is get really familiar with what are the TEDx's that I can lean into. The ones that I suggest that people lean into are the ones that are closest to you, because it shows that you are, you know, like you're like the hometown hero or the hometown expert in this particular topic. The second one might be any iteration of TED that might make sense for you. TED Ed, if you're into education, TED Med, if you're into medical stuff, TED Women, if you're a woman. But not all of these can you apply to. The only ones that you can, there are very few that you can apply to, including the TED Global Idea Search. And that's the one that I did. That application is coming up in June. So I will be sending out information when those applications are open. The first round already closed. That was closed January 31st, and people just are getting their results from their applications yesterday. So there'll be one other opportunity during 2021 where the TED Global Idea Search will be opening up their doors. So kind of keep an eye out for that as well, or just kind of stay in my universe and I'll be sure to send that out when it's available. So keep in mind, it's not a keynote, it's not a panel, it's not a pitch. If you're in business, they do not want you pitching your business. They do not want you pitching your motivational talk. It specifically is the idea. So make sure that you're really clear on your idea before figuring out which ones you want to apply to. Okay. The second step, share your core story on some type of stage. This list, this hyperlink right here, is for virtual stages. In my opinion, there are some great stages that you can think about getting on now that will help show that you can speak, you can speak power to your topic. One of the first ones that you want to think about is just, oops, security warning. This is my document. Remember this action for all PDF documents? Just trying to connect to app. Okay, fine, yeah. What's going on here? Okay, great. Everybody can see the virtual link. Okay, great. So anybody here heard about the moth? Yeah, just a couple of you, like one. Okay, for those of you who don't know, the Moth is an organization based out of New York City where people get up, they tell true stories live with no notes. If you think about TED in terms of the idea worth spreading, think about the Moth as the story worth sharing. The reason why this is important is because they have slams in over 50, meaning you can throw your name in a hat, in over 50 cities around the United States. As well as a podcast that's downloaded like 61 million times, and stories go on 500 radio stations. So if you're looking for a way to show that your story can be well told and can be it's people want to hear it, and you don't have to have like a call to action, you don't have to have like any of this stuff, you just need to be able to tell the story. I would definitely recommend the Moth. Okay, so this list right here, the Moth is the very first link right here. And you'll be able to see like a full list of different shows of stuff like based off of your geography, as well as this list right here, the virtual storytelling group. This is a Facebook group, but every single day there are people saying like, hey, we're doing the show today around COVID stories. Hey, we're doing a story tomorrow for Women's History Month. Hey, we're doing another. So these are producers looking for people to tell stories on those stages. Okay. So one of the,
are we supposed to be seeing something? I still see the step 2, step 3, step 4.
Oh, yeah, you are supposed to be seeing something. Hold on. 1 second. Go back. Okay, does your screen now say storytelling organizations?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for that heads up. So y'all didn't see when I clicked on the Moth? No, okay. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna click this and make sure that, do you all see the Moth website or no? You do, okay, great. Yep. Awesome. This is the Moth website. If you just do a quick scroll, you'll see upcoming virtual events. what you'll be looking for are anything that say like virtual slams. So this is on the East Coast. The theme is luck, prepare a 5-minute story. Nostalgia, Los Angeles, prepare a 5-minute story. Another one on luck. Oh, the Moth in Nairobi. So anyways, there's a lot of different opportunities to get on to their stages. And it's a great way to then have a 5-minute video of you telling a story based on something that's connected to your idea. Okay, so either the Moth or check out the virtual open mics, and that will get you that first piece that you're going to need that shows you speaking in front of an audience. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So now let me go back to, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second to make sure I'm on the right document.
So while you're doing that, may I ask a question?
Yes.
So you said so the Moth is to give you an opportunity to tell a short version of your idea. But I saw that they had topics listed. So what if your idea isn't one of those topics listed? For example, I saw like luck, nostalgia. So what if your topic that you want for the TED Talk is not one of those?
Great question. So what I would do then is go to that virtual storytelling list. Because a lot of those don't have like strict themes per se. So keep in mind that for the Moth, it's just the story. So you might be able to also, slightly shift your story so that it does fit a theme, but if you find, if you're kind of going through it and you're like, you know what, none of these themes really make sense for me, then I would suggest going to, did you see actually the list of all the different cities, for example, that also have storytelling shows? No? Okay, I'll show that to you as well. I'm just going to go to my PDF because I think that's a lot easier to show.
Don, hold on, Don, you'll be forwarding us those documents, am I correct?
100%.
Yeah, okay. No problem.
100%, yeah.
Okay, I'm cool.
Yeah, I used to do it before the session, but because of technology, like my last session, like I'm telling y'all, like Mercury was like messing the system up. I was just like, are people getting my emails? Because it like why technology? Why? So now I just ask for everybody's email, but I guarantee, and if you don't, please be in touch with me. I'll be sending this out within an hour of us completing. Okay, cool. So who was it just asked the question? Oh, okay, great. Yes, thank you. So now can you see the screen of the different shows? Okay, awesome. So essentially, if you don't find one at the Moth that makes sense for you, I would either go to the virtual storytelling shows, or you might want to like look at something in your local area and see like what kind of shows are in your local area as well. Okay, great. Y'all see the blueprint? Are we back on the blueprint? No, you're not. Yes, you are? Yes, you are. Okay, great. It was like, no, yes. Okay. Okay, no worries. Okay, cool. So then the third step is fine-tuning your idea. So we talked a little bit about like the lenses, those Instagram lenses, the internal shift, the external shift, the worldview shift. We want to like really hone in on what is the one idea that really goes deep. It really goes deep, right? You want to think about the fact that everything that you've seen on TED or TEDx, it's not a broad topic. People don't, like, generally speaking, they don't talk about broad issues like empathy or love or creativity. Instead, you want to present it as almost like a hypothesis. So if you're having a hard time fine-tuning your idea, the other exercise I want you to do is to show what people think about this topic now. Like, what do people think about cleanliness now? What do people think about empathy right now? And how might it be, and what might be different about how we want to present it today? Right? So for example, Cheryl, you talked about silencing the chatter, right? Silencing the chatter in our lives. So for example, oops, looks like somebody got kicked out. Let's let them back in. There we go. Yeah, so what we want to do is, instead of like talking broadly about like silencing the chair and the chatter, we want to say, this is how people typically think about fear. But what if I were to tell you that if we like lean into it, that we can actually start to save a life? Or what if we think about fear in this way, we can actually transform the way that we feel when we're all secluded and are unable to communicate with each other, right? So I want you to think about it almost as if it's a hypothesis, because that's going to help you really fine tune that idea and to put that lens on it. Does that make sense? Great. So think of it like almost like a scientist. You're breaking it down. You're breaking down like, this is what people think is the answer, and this is why it might need a little bit more fine tuning. Okay, great. So we're going to fine tune that idea. The next step, we talked a little bit about this, is demonstrating your expertise, right? So what exactly is your lived experience? What are your awards, your degrees, your certificates? When appropriate, we want to be able to show that as opposed to telling people about it. So we want to show, don't tell. I can tell you that I'm an expert storyteller, but instead I'm going to show you by telling you a story, right? I can tell you that I'm an empathetic person, but instead I'm going to show you what empathy means to me and how that looks by going a little bit more into a story. Okay. So because everybody out there can say you're the expert, and so many of us are on Clubhouse, you're like, this is an expert's room on blah, 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 blah. And they're like, okay, well, what makes you the expert? It's like, oh, well, I read about this and that's not gonna work. We need to show people as opposed to telling people, okay? So demonstrate your expertise by showing. Gather your content in terms of your idea. Every single application that I've seen asks you to articulate your idea in 1 or 2 sentences. So it has to be really succinct. And then possibly another version where the idea is a little bit longer. Okay, so it has a little bit more meat to it in terms of the story behind that idea. Okay, so your idea is short and tight. Your expertise, in other words, the why you. Your idea pitch, in other words, like like sometimes, and I'm sorry about the phone in the background. It'll stop in just a moment. Your idea pitch, which is typically like you speaking directly to camera. Your speaking reel, which kind of goes back to that first thing that I was talking about, having a 5-minute video of you speaking in front of a live audience, or you speaking in front of a virtual audience or something. And then of course, anything else that shows that you are, that you know what you're doing. Press, your social media handles, that kind of stuff. Because trust me, they will look you up. They will do research on you. And if you say that you have done X, Y, and Z, you worked with X, Y, and Z person, and there's no proof, it's not going to be a good look. Okay. And then last but not least, apply. Like so much of getting on their stages is applying. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know many people who have landed the very first time that they applied. I don't know very many people at all. Most people that I know have had to apply to a couple of different TEDx's, or if they were specifically going after TED, then like in my case, it took a couple of years because I was only applying to the TED Global Idea Search. But you'll see that there are a lot of events that are popping off in 2021. So I want to take a quick second and see if there's any questions before I go into the master list and what you can do with the master list once I send it out to you. So any questions so far in terms of what the blueprint looks like as a roadmap?
I have a question. This is Danielle.
Uh-huh.
A couple of years ago, I actually began to Google. I knew there were various talks. I investigated, and I just really felt and knew that I just would not be good fits for those particular stages.
Okay.
I know I could do the research, but I'm going to ask you, since I have an expert in front of me, I am free. I just want to make sure, am I free to explore various stages? Because even though I live in the Midwest, I believe because I am groovy, that I probably will not be embraced as much in the Midwest, like Indiana, as I would be perhaps on the West Coast or on the East Coast.
Okay.
So am I free to somewhat explore various stages?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, hey, chill out. Absolutely. So a couple of things to keep in mind when exploring various stages, because I've definitely had people who live in Texas who did their TEDx talk in the UK, or people who live in California who have done their TEDx's in other states, right? A couple of things to keep in mind is, one, you will not be paid for your transportation or for your lodging or for your talk. So you will be responsible for like any type of transportation logistical costs, right? The second thing is they like to highlight, they tend to like to highlight local people, because you are, it's part of your tribe. You can say like, like I'm from this area, and I am the person in this area that talks about blank, right? So if you live in Chicago, and you have a broad topic, for example, yeah, you can apply like anywhere because perhaps your topic isn't necessarily geographically centered. But the third thing to think about is which iterations of TED might make sense based off of the curators. So, for example, TEDx in Berkeley tends to be more, how do I say, a little bit more like creative people, people who are in the wilderness or to like, nature and the environment. TEDx Los Angeles might be more people who are into entertainment, into the industry, Hollywood, glam, fashion, that kind of stuff. So, so what I'll do if I have time towards the end is I'll show you how I found the people who are on the TEDx list, because each curator is going to have like a slightly different style to who they're looking for.
Exactly. And when I looked, I just wanted to chime in. When I was doing some research, I just got exhausted because even looking and doing research, and then I was even Googling some of the organizers, I just kind of knew in my spirit that I just would not be a good fit for their stage, if that makes sense.
That's
and
exactly.
I just was like, I'm not going to even apply because it's just not going to be a good fit. All right. And I'm closing the mic. Okay.
Okay, great. But no, that's a perfect segue actually to talk a little bit about how to utilize this list. Everyone sees the list, okay? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Give me one quick second. I'm just going to close this door. Okay, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, okay, excellent. So yeah, we do not need to waste anybody's time, yours nor the curators, if it's not going to be a good match. But this is a starting list of different TEDx's around the nation and Canada, once in Canada, that are that have rolling deadlines because of COVID. What's happening now is a lot of curators are saying like, yes, we have a license. Yes, we want to do an event in 2021, but we are still trying to figure out what iteration it might take. It might be virtual, it might be live. So this list right here has 3 different hyperlinks. The first one is going to take you directly to the TED website, which is going to show you that they have the license, it's legitimate, and a lot of times it might have the date. So which one would you all like to use as an example for this exercise?
I would say maybe like a their website, their personal website, to see how we can contact them. I just have a quick question. Like, I reached out to one of the organizers. The event is supposed to be in May, but he still doesn't even know what the theme is. And I'm like, I feel like we should at least know that, because we don't have that many months left. So I was kind of confused, because I thought they would know that information by now.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, some of them don't have themes, ironically. So some of them are just like, you know, they just kind of use the main TED tagline. What is the idea we're spreading? But at the same time, like if it's TEDx like Harlem, for example, they might still, you know, because it's in Harlem, we know that there's a certain like cultural element to that city, or we know that there's a certain type of person that might be attracted to speak at that event. So it might not necessarily be theme specific, but if you think about the city, or if you think about the what that city is kind of known for, that might give you a little bit of a better clue in terms of like if that fits for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense what you said, but I just feel like, I mean, I live in New York. I don't live in Harlem, but I mean, based on what the person told me, it just seems like he was looking for people specifically that lived in Harlem, that organizer. And I was just like, I mean, that's something that you should make clear, because if I knew he was only looking for people in Harlem, I would not even bother.
Sure. And, you know, and if he or she is specifically looking for people in Harlem, normally they would state that. You know, they're usually pretty clear around like who it is that they're like looking for. But like I said, each organizer is different. Each organizer is independently like runs their own team. So how they articulate it is kind of like up to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like he assumed that I was from Harlem. He's like, what part of Harlem you from? And I'm like, I don't live in Harlem. Like, I didn't know that had that had to do with the theme, because I asked him about the theme specifically to see if I would be a good fit. But then he asked me if I was from Harlem. So I'm like, okay.
Okay, yeah, just ask him. Just ask him if you know if you're specifically looking for Harlem, then that's fine. And if not, there's a billion other TEDx's that are in. There's a CUNY in New York City. There's TEDx Fulton Street in New York City. There's a bunch of other TEDx's in New York that might match better depending on, you know, what you're trying to aim for. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, it does. Sorry. I didn't know if you wanted me to reply.
Oh no, it's okay. It's funny because I'm just like I'm looking at the Zoom and all I see is like the highlight. So so I didn't know if you wanted to say anything else about that. But
no, it makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's a great question. And it's a process. And that's why I wanted to be able to provide you all with this particular list, because at least you can kind of like, once you have one solid application, which is always my goal for my coaching programs, is to have one really solid application where all you have to do is kind of tweak to fit other TEDx's. Because if this is the year that you're going to do it, it's just a matter of like getting those pieces together and then figuring out which ones make sense for you. Okay. So let's choose one of these as a sample, and I'll show you like what exactly to do with this information in this sheet.
Can you check the one for CUNY, since this is in New York? I don't know, like, yeah, CUNY, check.
Sure.
TEDx.
Great, CUNY. So everyone can see my screen okay? Okay, great. So TEDx CUNY, New York. Next event's TBD. Actually, I can tell you that this one, they recently had one that passed not too long ago. So you'll see, first off, the one thing to think about when you're deciding which ones to apply to is some of them will say university, some of them will say standard. University typically means that it's at a university campus. And so sometimes they do prefer those students who have either gone to that university or who have graduated from that university. So that's just
exactly.
Yeah, so that's just a heads up in terms of the university ones. The standard ones means that they have a standard license, meaning that they've qualified to kind of like it's usually a bigger, you know, it usually means that they have like a 2 or 3 camera setup. So if you've seen like a really nice looking TEDx event, it's usually because they have a standard license. They used to call this like level 1, 2, 3. So you would know which ones were like high quality, because trust me, y'all, I have friends who have done TEDx's where the quality of the video is so shitty that they were never able to use it. Or actually, I have a friend here in Santa Clara who the production team did not know what they were doing. She never even got a video of her talk. Okay, I know. And she was like, I did the talk, but I can't, I have no way to prove it. So I don't want that to happen to any of y'all. So typically the ones I pull out are the ones that I know have a high degree of production value. That, you know, once you apply, they know what they're doing. They've done this before, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So actually, because the CUNY one is a university one, can we actually choose one that's a standard so I can talk you through like what to look for?
Yes,
Okay?
please.
What about the Cambridge one? The Cambridge one seems standard. Like the third one, it's Massachusetts.
Cambridge. I know I have it on this list. Why
Yeah,
are my eyes?
it's the third one. Third one.
Beacon Street.
Beacon Street.
Oh, Beacon Street. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, great. Excellent. Excellent choice. Okay, great. So let's first go to the first link. Okay. Do you all see my screen? No. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
TEDx Beacon Street?
No.
No.
No, we still see your spreadsheet.
Okay, cool. No problem. Let me stop that then. Go to TEDx Beacon Street. Okay, now you see TEDx Beacon Street?
Yes, we do.
Okay, cool. Oh, somebody else has a pup. Hi, puppy. Hi, pup. Sorry, I'm one of these dog lovers. Shush. Okay, cool. So, so the first link is going to take you to like the main site where whoever the curator is has, you know, it shows that they've gotten the license for this particular event. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is, this looks like this was from 2020. Okay, no problem. When you scroll down to the bottom of this page, scroll down past the speakers, keep on scrolling, keep on scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Okay, great. John Werner. Okay, so one of the first things that you're gonna want to do is to get a sense of like what might TEDx Cambridge be all about. Like what kind of speakers are they bringing in? You might be able to get a sense from the bios of the people who are up here. The other thing that you might want to do is just click on John's on the curator's face. You'll see a little bit about him. I am an athlete, change agent, connector, bio. He's produced over 25 TEDx Beacon Streets, corporate development, innovation, new ventures. So it sounds like there's quite a bit of stuff around here and like dealing with tech, that kind of stuff. I'm passionate about family, biking, augmented reality, innovation. So when you look at the bios, it might give you a little bit of sense of like what each one is leaning towards, in terms of like what kind of people that they're looking for. Okay, that's going to be the first link, and that just proves that it's there. Some of them might have dates, but a lot of these are rolling, as I said. So so the second link is going to, oops, 1 second. There we go. Okay, quiet. Quiet. Okay, great. I need like 2 computers to do this. This second link is going to take you to the main website, the actual website where the application is going to live. Okay, so, oh man, why is this doing this? Give me a second. I'm going to stop my share. I'm just going to pull up the websites, and then you'll be able to see everything on that one line, and then that one. Okay, great. Okay, so Okay, great. Can everyone see the page that says Inspire Me? Okay, great. So the second link on your spreadsheet is going to take you directly to the TEDx event itself, in terms of like what they're looking for. So this one is TEDx Beacon Street, as you can see at the top of the screen. Attend, watch, serve, speak. Okay, and then the third tab is going to lead you to the nominate a speaker button. Okay, now almost everybody that I know has nominated themselves. And it's a total, it's totally legitimate. You don't need to get your professor, you don't need to find somebody else to nominate you. You can just nominate yourself, okay? Now, the great thing about what's happening now is because with COVID and the timeline of things, keep in mind that people usually request a license about a year out. And then they ask for speaker submissions, typically about 3 to 6 months out. So people who are applying now or within the next couple of months, chances are like you're not going to get accepted. Like, it's going to take like at least a month to be accepted or denied. And then after that, another like month or so, or a couple of months before you actually get on the stages. So with us being in February now, kind of going into March, you could apply in March for an event that might be happening like in June or July, or even like later on in the year, and you'll be in the perfect position, depending on like hopefully what happens with COVID. But things are changing, iterating now. So that's why it's a great opportunity to jump on either contacting the curators and asking them like, hey, when are your events, when are your speaker submissions going to be open? Or B, just going to the link, submit your information and to get on their radar. So that way, when they are ready to say like, okay, this is going to be the exact date, then, you're already in their queue. So the list that I'm going to send to you will have all 3 of those links, the TED main website, the TEDx listing event, and then the application page. Okay. So that is, those are the documents and how they work. So literally, you can figure out which one makes sense for you. Now, one last thing before I kind of go into like Q&A and wrap up the session is, say you get this list and you're like, like I'm in the UK or I'm in Ireland or I'm in some other place and I don't really see what I'm looking for. I'm going to show you how to find something that might be local to you. Okay. So let's stop my screen for a quick second. Y'all doing all good so far? I know like this is like a lot of information coming at you like, okay, great. I know I'm crazy. All right. Okay, one second.
Don, can I ask you a quick question while you're looking?
Mm-hmm.
So, since all of the TEDx are independently organized, do you think like most of them are open for speakers applications, or do you think some are already, when they organize and they already know who they want to invite to speak? And could we see that happen too, that some events never open up?
Yeah, it's a good question. So most of them will have spots for people that they have either already like invited, as well as people who they want to who they don't know about. So for example, like the TED Global Idea Search, the whole premise of that one is that they want to find people who they would not find naturally or organically. You may have spoken at TEDx, or South by Southwest. You may have spoken at like the Aspen Ideas Festival or these other major conferences, but typically they're people who have gone under the radar. So for a lot of the different TEDx's, sometimes I do invite people, and that's the curator's discretion. And sometimes it's they're looking for like that mixed bag of applicants because they don't know everybody, but they do know that they need to have like a really solid event in order to get their license renewed. So yeah, it kind of varies, but for the most part, I think most of them do accept are looking for applications. Yeah. Okay, great. So the last piece of this puzzle is everybody sees like this particular page, TEDx events. Okay, cool. So you'll to navigate this, one of the things that I recommend is you first go in. You can see I've already populated it with United States and 2021. Cool. Blue dots means that things are seats are available. That does not mean that seats are available for speakers. It means that seats are available for people who want to attend the event. Okay. And then there's this other little button, which is the black or gray dot, which is, they're sold out or it's invite only. So typically, sometimes the university ones might be invite only. Some of the salon ones mean invite only. What I typically recommend people do is you go into this database, you put in your city, let's say Houston. Or if you want to, you can even just like zoom in on the map. And you can search for your geographic area. So let's say this is TEDx UTD, TEDx HBU, et cetera, et cetera. So each one of these will take you to the TEDx's that might be like localized, depending on your particular area. A couple key things to keep in mind. Once again, you want to look for those that either say standard, unless you are a university, unless you're connected to a particular university, or if you're youth, and you can look at the youth ones. But typically, I look at the standard ones. And then what I typically do is, because it takes some time to just 1 second.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You just mentioned youth, and I was waiting to ask you a question because I have a son and he wants to go, and they have it, right? They have.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, do you see this one here that says TEDx Summit Quinceta Montessori School?
Yes, this is Montessori, so this is for students, Montessori students.
Montessori, yes, my bad. Yes, so those would be for Montessori's typically, but a lot of times the youth ones, they might just be like looking for other youth who are great speakers who are in that area. So it would be the same process as like to look for the ones that say youth in them, and then localize it to your particular area. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so what I typically do with this list is I go to the very end, because we know the ones at the end, like TEDx San Antonio, TEDx Hartford, Connecticut. We know that these are like far enough in advance where they'll, we're hoping that those are going to be like live events. And so I kind of like work my way backwards in trying to figure out like, okay, like which ones are most likely to be ready, accepting applications, So I put together my own like little list during the course of the year of like my targets, and I just start to put that all together. So did that all make sense? Cool. So I'm going to open up the floor to questions in just a second, but just to let you all know that this that I have a program that if people are interested in actually like walking with me and a small group, it's actually smaller than even this. We keep it to a group of about 12. But I'm going to be kicking off all my coaching programs the second week of March. So those are all going to be like leading up to the global idea search. And each week we literally we take out a chunk of this process. If it's, first getting clear on your idea, getting those real estate pieces in order. So we have a curator who has a storytelling show where we put you on that show. So basically week by week by week, we're building up everything that you're going to need for your application, so that by the end of the program, it's automatic. So hopefully it just saves a lot of time, but it also has that community. It's a community feel, so that we can bounce ideas off of each other. We can see what's working, what's not working, the iterations, all that kind of stuff. So if anybody is interested in that, just let me know, and I'll schedule. Okay, great. I'll send you a Calendly link to meet with me one-on-one, and then we can chat in a little bit more detail and let you know about the program, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Whew. All right. Questions.
Okay, well, this is Danielle.
Yes.
So I know you move with intention. However, I'm unable to even give you a love offering because there's nothing on your club. It says anything about a love offering. And I wasn't going to email you. So yeah, you can always, kind of, I know this is being recorded, but some kind of secret way to say, hey, you want to give a love offering?
Oh,
PayPal me, do that after the recording. But I
Sure.
just wanted to say that because, and I will be tuning in on Tuesday. I already read the email because So I'm just letting you know that. That's it.
I appreciate that. You're actually
valuable.
The second or third person that's actually told me that. I'll put my Venmo in the chat if that helps.
You're gonna have to start doing that. I'm serious. Because it's just this is beyond gems. Beyond.
Thank you.
Lots of confirmation. Isn't this valuable, you guys?
Absolutely, 100%.
Absolutely.
100%, yes.
Thank you. I'm like blushing now.
Yeah.
My heart feels so warm. I just love this stuff, if you guys can't tell, and I've been a coach for about like 10 years, working with people from all over the world. So it's what I love to do. And I just want to make it like my goal when 2020 hit, with COVID hit, it was hard. Shit was hard last year, and then with everything going on with Black Lives Matter and the deaths of people of color, it was just like, but at the same time, I saw a lot of people like stepping up and really sharing voices of inspiration, voices of change. And so I got really inspired, and I was like, you know what? I want to work with at least 50 people in 2021 to land that TED or TEDx talk. So that's why I just started just doing these workshops, every week, just pin the pavement, So I'm blessed to have you all here. I don't take it lightly that you've taken 2 hours of your Thursday to show up to be here. So I really appreciate it. Any questions or anybody interested in one-on-one stuff? Yes, Veronica.
So I know you mentioned the first time you applied, you weren't accepted, and then eventually, of course, you were accepted. What did you do between that to improve, or how did you know what you needed to do differently, or to change whatever it was that you submitted your application?
Great question. I was fortunate to have like a crew, like a little mini crew of people that helped me like vet and redo my application, who actually knew. So I shared with you the story about the guy who had the app, like looking up with the phone. He got accepted, and so he helped me. It took like quite some time to like refine my application. So actually, as part of my coaching program now, I show you my full application, what I did the first year and why I think it was rejected, what I did the second year and why I think it was accepted. But some of the major tweaks was the first version, I led with my story. The second time, I led with the idea. The story was still there, because keep in mind, our story is our story. Like the stuff that's happened to us, we can't change, right? But once again, I put it through a different filter, a different lens. The first time I kind of talked about the power of the story. The second time I talked about the power of special, like of thinking about things in terms of special needs and special gifts, right? So basically, I kind of did a little bit more surveying of people who I knew, liked, and trusted, people who had already been on the TED stage, to say like, is this what they're looking for? Is this what they're looking for? And just kind of taking that year to reapply.
Is the app 1 second every day?
Yes.
I have it.
Awesome. Yes, that's my homie. That's Caesar.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I met him at the time that he was doing his Kickstarter campaign for the 1 second everyday app. And now that TED Talk is Like, I mean, that app is now like the #1 app in the App Store and so many different places. So yeah, going back to what Marna was asking, like, do you have to have the stuff now? No, but if you have some type of concept that looks like it might work, it's going to be intriguing, and that's kind of what it's all about, right?
And you're passionate about it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So
I have a lot of questions, but I think we will schedule one session, and I'll ask you everything. Okay.
Okay,
Or
great.
if you don't mind, I can ask here. But I think it's better to work in person, because I texted to you today in Instagram that I already planned it. I was thinking that we will work together, and I felt it from Clubhouse. I felt that you are my person, you are my soul, and I can work with you, and I want to work with you. I have to be a coach for Instagram and for my for media, to become a media person. He's working with me from November, and I'm planning to work with you for TED, because he doesn't have a lot of time and he's not expert in TED Talk. So I'd love to start with you, and I like you very much.
Oh, thank you.
The way you are working.
Oh, I appreciate that, Marna. I'm so excited to I look forward to connecting with you. I'm going to, there you are. Great. I'm going to just drop my Calendly link in the chat in case, there we go, in case anybody needs it before they jump off.
Don, I had one quick question in reference to past experiences in speaking in front of a live audience. Would that include, or I don't know, I'm attempting to go from my mind's eye, but would that also include like radio interviews, television shows, so on and so forth? How far back can you go? Could it be like within the last 5 years, or?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
So, I mean, as long as it's kind of connected to what you're doing. I mean, of course, if you have stuff that's recent, it's also nice. But for the most part, the stuff that they're going to be looking at is not going to be like your articles or your press. They're really going to be looking at, like, what is your idea? What proves your expertise? So if you're doing something that's like now, that's kind of, even if it hasn't been written up in a paper, there's going to be a couple of different factors that are going to balance out, like the why you and the why now.
I got exactly. So like, for instance, with the idea that has come to me, because it'll be timely, even though it'll be painful, even if I attach some articles that were written years ago, it's part of the story, and it would be timely. And then some of, let's say, some recent interviews that I've had, that I could attach that of me speaking and being interviewed, some snippets. I could attach that as well, so that the committee will be able just to tie all that in and say, okay, she's been a part of all of this for over 20 years. So they could kind of attach it. It's not like I just came up with something yesterday. That
right.
kind of what it is. They'll see that this has always been a part of her story.
Right.
The story. And it's a full circle.
Right. As long as it's really clean and clear, like we don't want them to to think about it too much. But and for the most part, they're not going to dig deep into like, your links, because there's a lot of people who apply. So, the application is all about being like really succinct about, this is, legit. This person knows what they're talking about. Great. Awesome. So Whitney,
for tomorrow 1 p.m. with you, Tom.
Oh, okay.
And I'll talk to you then tomorrow, okay?
Okay, great. I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow then, Marna. Awesome. And of course, for those of you who are like more interested in the public speaking stuff in terms of becoming a paid public speaker, that workshop, which is different than this one, is going to be next week on Tuesday. So, I'm sorry?
Will you send us links on email?
Oh yeah, did you get my email for today's?
Today, yes. Today I received the email with link. Yeah, and I'm asking, will you send links for everyone?
Just for the people who have signed up, like, so the email that I sent yesterday, it had two different links. One was for today and one is for next week.
Oh,
Did you
okay.
sign up for the one for next week
Yeah.
as well?
I didn't see it. Okay, I will check it.
Okay, you probably have not gotten a confirmation for it as of yet because
I don't have it.
oh, you don't? Okay.
I have only one.
Okay, no problem. I'll set that up with you tomorrow. Make sure you get that. Oh, Danielle, I think you're on mute, honey.
Thing, just be patient. You see all 6 of these children from age 32 to 17? Just be patient. Just be patient.
Awesome. So Whitney and oh man, social T, I'm forgetting your name.
Oh, Lori.
Lori, there you go.
Lori.
Did you all I know that you all were in a slightly different boat in terms of like actually trying to put together a TEDx event, was it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So what did you hear back, if anything, about the event that you were trying to put together?
I'm trying to log into my email, that email to see exactly what they said. We created an email just for it. But they weren't clear on why, but I think what happened is I feel like they felt we already have a stage.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit of what I feel like we were getting from it.
Okay.
But Whitney, I don't know if you remember exactly. I'm pulling it up now.
Yeah, I also remember they were saying that the theme was a little bit too narrow. It needs to be a little bit more broad.
Okay.
So that it could apply to pretty much almost any industry or any kind of like topic or any interest.
Right.
Because ours was a little bit, I think ours was just a little bit too niche.
Okay. Well, do you remember what that niche was by chance?
I believe it was over it was about
it was about it's something
like communication.
Oh, sorry. I think it was about something about like the millennial conversation or something like that. It was something.
Yeah, it was about the digital age.
The digital
That's
age.
What it was about. Yeah,
communicating in the digital age. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. And so some of our speaker examples was I remember one of them was a professor who was teaching like digital marketing. Another one would be like a teacher talking about the different ways of teaching in this digital time. Kind of around that. And if I remember correctly, yeah, their remarks was that it was a little bit too niche, that the theme wasn't like broad enough.
Got it. Okay, great insight. So yeah, that's that is probably very likely. People have asked me before, how come there's no like TEDx Black people or TEDx, just like different like iterations. And from when I spoke to them, they're very much like, they want to be able to be as inclusive as possible. So you might want to try something like TEDx with a theme of like communications, or something broader than just either millennials or digital communication. Yeah. So but what I'd love to do with you all is there are actually a couple of TEDx people who are on the curatorial side, like so those who have actually had to put together events. One of them is a woman from Brazil, and there's a gentleman here who has put together TEDx Los Gatos. I think it's somewhere in here in California. So I'm going to be putting together a separate panel for people who actually want to put together the TEDx event. So I would definitely encourage you all to let's keep in touch, because that hasn't been planned yet, but it will be on Clubhouse as well. So I have like some insights as well in terms of actually getting that license, which is it's a different process than the people who are trying to get onto the stages,
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's continue this conversation because I would love to be able to see you all, get your event up and get it licensed as well. But I'm just less familiar with that entire process. But I do know it's a lot. So
Amen.
yeah, it's a friggin' lot. So
Yeah, we put our whole heart into it, but we're not crushed. We'll keep trying.
there you go, Queen. Like I don't know anybody who's gotten even on the stages after the first try. So let's keep on innovating. There we go. There we go. So yes, let's just keep innovating and seeing, because I'm all about people manifesting that dream, whatever that dream might look like to you. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. You've been such,
Thank you.
really just echoing what everyone says. You really have been such a resource and just getting so much value. And I just really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
And I appreciate it. I know I kept popping in and out. I was still at work actually. And I was, my manager called me. Everybody's, calling. But I took notes, and I know that Whitney took notes, but it was beneficial for everything that we've seen. So I appreciate you taking your time, your gifts, your talents. Like, it's not in vain, and we appreciate you. And I pray that we can pour back into you too. You know what I mean? So hopefully we'll be able to do that.
Love that. I'd love that. It's all community. And we're all building together,
You about to make it rain for me, Miss Dawn. As much as I pour into people, you're about to make it rain for me.
I feel you, Queen.
I can't wait to testify.
Yes, that's what I love. That I love being able to get people to the other side, and just it's magic. It's magical. It's magical. So Sage or Layla, Veronica, Lance, any questions? Anything not clear? Anything that I could do to clarify or to support you?
Sorry, I lost sound through a chunk of it because my internet connection is not very good. So I missed a chunk, but everything I heard was absolutely brilliant. So just thank you so much. Really, 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 really useful.
Great. Awesome. And some people did ask about a recording, if that's okay, I'll send out just certain aspects of this.
It didn't allow me to click record. It was telling me that I have to ask host, and I asked you when I clicked record it, and it please ask the host to give you permission to record. So I recorded.
Okay, no worries.
I didn't
realize that. I'll go ahead and send you the recording. Now, for anybody else who is here, typically I like to keep them private because people are kind of talking about your ideas and that kind of stuff, But since we're all here, you've already heard what's been discussed. So I'll be more than happy to share it with anybody who is already here. But it won't be going out to anybody who's not, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Dawn. I got on a little late. I had a conference call, but what I heard after I got on was really incredible. Great information.
Great.
And, Tuesday and scheduling that one-on-one call.
Okay, great. So Lance, are you more in the up and coming aspiring professional paid speaker angle?
So here's the deal. Kind of doing both. I do virtual events. Actually, I do live event that we're moving to a virtual platform. So I host events, and I've normally anywhere between 7 to 800 people. So I've never taken the opportunity to speak at the actual event. So I'm trying to tap in the whole public speaking deal instead of the coordinated.
It's a bad connection, I think, Lance.
Yeah, you have a pretty rough connection, bro.
How was that bad? Am I back?
But I think
to answer your question.
Oh, go ahead. Now we can hear you.
Oh, really? Okay. So yeah, I am getting into the the public speaking deal, I was saying that I do host events, and they're pretty large crowds, but I've never taken the opportunity because of the whole fear, self-limiting belief, and all that imposter syndrome and all that stuff. Never taken the opportunity to actually speak at the events that I produce.
Oh wow. Yeah, we got to step into your power, bro. Let's do this.
I'm getting there this year.
Yes.
I am getting there this year. So
yes.
Lance, I feel you. I usually don't speak at my events too. And I did 200 events in 2019 and I don't think I spoke at any.
Wow.
So,
wow.
I mean, it's not, and I think that for me personally though, what God was doing was teaching me, because I love to be in front of the camera in front, but God was teaching me to create space for others. Like, you know, so that was where my journey was. But I feel you though, like, you know, you love to see it come to fruition and you're like amazed, but you know, it's your season, man. It's your season of overflow.
Absolutely.
Love y'all. Yes. Yes. Community. Yes, Lance. And I have a couple of brothers who are, two of them actually right now who are in this current program who also had the exact same thing. They were like, you know I know I have something to share, but been doing a little bit of it, but I have a little bit of a tendency to push people over the edge until they're like on that stage, until they're like doing the damn thing. So just a heads up. I might be giving you a little bit of a headbutt nudge, if you will. Awesome. Veronica, anything else?
No, this was great. I had one question earlier, but that's it. I think you probably covered most of anything else I wanted to know. So thank you very much for this. This was good.
Excellent. So glad that you were able to make it. And Layla, anything?
Just thank you so much. This is brilliant. So yeah, I'm a bit earlier in my journey than maybe everybody else. I've got a few ideas and I'm not sure which one. So, but it's given me lots of questions to then up. Maybe. Thank you so much.
Of course. In the near future, I will just be doing sessions just on the idea. This was a little bit more of of a blueprint in terms of like what to look for, what to expect, what's actually happening. But I know that just a session on just doing the ideas will be valuable as well. So coming soon.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be helpful for someone like me, just because I feel like I'm kind of all over the place and need to kind of hone it in. And so when you said, are you interested in TED Talk? Or are you interested in paid public speaking? I'm like, both, yeah, so just kind of getting the idea and bringing it in. So I have an unpaid talk next week, but figuring out how to get paid talk.
Great. So quick question about that unpaid talk. Are you getting it filmed?
It's a virtual, so it'll be recorded. Yes.
Okay, great. Do they have other people that they might be able to introduce you to that are in the same field or something related that might be a contact that can get you paid?
Possibly. Short story. It's a webinar series that they do. I'm a caregiver advocate for Alzheimer's caregivers, and it's a nonprofit that funds other nonprofits who help. So it's a lot of people with money, for one, and a lot of people who want to hear from a caregiver tell their story. So, so possibly, to answer your question.
Okay, great. So much of what I do in the so Ideas That Ignite is the program for TED and TEDx. Story to Speech to Sale is the program that I do for aspiring public speakers. But so much of what I do in Story to Speech to Sale is to know how to leverage unpaid gigs so that either like you're getting some type of like testimonial or contacts that they're contacting in their networks, so that you can basically tap into other networks for people who can get you paid. Or if those people aren't getting you paid, you're getting some type of other asset. You're getting some type of really high quality video or photos or something that's going to help you still build your marketing materials for your speaking platform. So as I mentioned, it's a whole nother process, because there's too many people who are not getting paid for your time as a speaker. And I know that I, as a creative, as a storyteller, spent years just sharing my stories. And then one day when I was like, wait, this is ridiculous. How much are you gonna pay me? $5,000 to talk for 45 minutes? And since then, it's only escalated. You know, some of my contracts now, 90,000 to, you know, multiple six figures, you know, they're all like look slightly different, but it's kind of like getting that domino rolling.
Right, exactly. And those of us at the beginning stage are,
Yeah,
you know, yeah, I'll speak just so I can speak. You know what I mean? Instead of
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I'm not at the beginning stage. So, you know, and may I just interject on something about the public speaking, Don? And I know we're past time.
That's okay.
But I was sharing this with someone earlier I met from Clubhouse. And I was encouraging her to be a motivational speaker, right? And I shared with her that I recently lost my master Yoda. She was a global union organizer, labor leader. You can look her up on Wikipedia. She just recently passed 2 weeks ago. And I remember sharing with her about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I said, you can get paid about $20,000 to speak for 30 minutes. And you know what she said to me, Veronica? She said to me, no one's going to pay me that type of money. I challenge you to Google her and listen to one of her speeches. Karen G.J. Lewis, 13 minutes long.
Right.
Listen to her, personal friend, and she didn't believe. The first woman, African-American woman to graduate from the Dartmouth class, did not believe that she could get paid to speak.
Right, right.
So, I mean, it all depends. It has nothing to do with how long. It's just, if you believe that people will pay you, and she went all over the world to speak, and she did not believe that she could branch off as a speaker.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So that's
truly
all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
And I'm closing the mic.
Cool. So I'm just going to ask Samantina, and then I'll wrap this all up. Samantina, anything else? Any other questions or anything else that I can do to serve you before we close out today's session? Oh, perhaps she's no longer there. It's just the glam shot with the head wrap and the glasses.
I love that picture.
Silence. I know it's so glamorous. I'm like, wow. I want to hope one day, like, if somebody can work with me to look like that, I'll be like balling. Yes. All right, y'all. I've kept you for long enough. I hope that this was powerful and inspiring. I'm gonna go grab a bite. So I'm gonna send out these documents and the recording, and it might actually take it might take a little bit of time for the recording to process. So give me till like tonight or latest till tomorrow morning, and I'll make sure to get this out to y'all. All right. And if you're interested in more, next week, Tuesday, public speaking, or just jump on my Calendly link. Always willing to just, to figure out which one of the programs might make sense for you if you're interested in coaching in a small group kind of a setting. March is going to be awesome, y'all. I'm super excited. So excited to see y'all on Clubhouse. So, if there's anything that I can continue to do, I'm going to be opening a bunch of rooms, hopefully having a club called Ideas That Ignite whenever that gets approved. So look for more. And thank you for coming. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
Dawn,
Whitney
and
much
I have a club, Clap for Her. We could add you as a moderator if you'd like, and you can start there. We have like over more than 2,000 people on our club room or whatever. So if you're interested, we could connect with you.
Absolutely. I'm gonna write that down. I have my little clubhouse here. So if I just go to I have spring cleaning after COVID tomorrow, Monday at 3 p.m. Yes.
It's mine. Yes.
Awesome. Yes, I put that on my calendar.
Thank you.
Yes. And what's your guys' club called again?
It's called Clap for Her.
Clap for Her.
But I have your Instagram. I can send you the link and everything. And if you once you join, we can make you a moderator and you can create whatever rooms. I'm just saying while you're waiting, you can feel free.
Cool. I just put the request to.
Oh,
to
perfect.
Buena
We'll
Club. Yeah,
accept you now.
cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. I love this app. I don't know if I've ever been more. I've you see my Instagram, like every now and then I'll post some shit, But this, I was like, oh man, I love like listening to people's ideas. I love like hearing people's stories. I love being able to provide value. So I'm all about it. I would love to support and co-moderate. Hopefully I'm doing one with Marna also tomorrow if I can. Not tomorrow, on Monday. If I can get my schedule right. But yeah, I'm down for it. I'm down for it, ladies.
Live longer. Do you think Clubhouse gonna live longer? Because today I was listening to something that's saying it's like a short-term project and it's not gonna work. I don't believe. I love it, and I think a lot of people love it.
Oh no, I think it's here to stay. They have like more than 10 million in terms of
12 million
investments.
in investment, yeah.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, y'all, go have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go take care of this pup that's been like sitting growling at me, like jumping into the arms and all this kind of randomness. So I'm sending you all so much love and light.
Thank you so much.
All
We've
right, take
added
care.
you as an admin, by the way,
Thank
so
you.
you're all set.
Oh,
Dawn.
great. That's so quick.
Awesome. Yeah, I know, right? All right.
Awesome. Have a good one,
Bye.
ladies.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks, Whitney.
Bye,
Appreciate
everyone.
it.